What's up, guys? I just got back from court, and Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years in prison. So I'll let people join. I just started the live video, so I'll repeat myself when a few people have joined, but I literally just got back from court. If anyone was following my Twitter feed or my YouTube short feed, I did arrive at court at 9:30 p.m. last night, and I attempted to sleep on a pile of trash that I collected from the streets, and it was raining all night. These are just details I'm giving you because people are still entering this live stream. But yeah, I collected piles of trash from the streets and attempted to create a little makeshift bed, but ultimately I didn't sleep a wink. It was raining, it was pouring rain, so I was trying to sleep and I was just getting waterboarded by the rain. Anyway, so Sam Bankman-Fried, homeless people style. So if you want to look that up, it is on my Twitter and it is on my YouTube in my shorts. Elon Musk responded to my video of me being like, I'm trying to sleep on a pile of trash with a fire emoji. So Elon Musk loves when your girl sleeps on a pile of trash. Anyway, okay, some people have joined. Okay, so I just got back from court, and in case you haven't heard, Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years in prison. He was Judge Lewis Kaplan also asked that he be sent to either a medium or a low security facility as close to the San Francisco Bay Area as possible, so that his family can visit him. And he also asked that Sam forfeit $11 billion as well. I don't quite know how that works because Sam certainly doesn't have $11 billion in his pocket. So I don't know if that was referring to assets he owns, real estate, etc. But still, all the real estate and assets he owns do not amount to $11 billion. So I'm not completely sure how that works. I will have to ask a lawyer about that. I will say this is the first criminal trial I have ever covered in my life. So I apologize that I don't know how all of these things completely work. But it's the end of an era. It's the end of a long saga. It's the end of this strange little detour in my life. So just the chapter's closing. But what do you guys think of a 25-year sentence for Sam Bankman-Fried? Because going into sentencing, I've said this before, and this is like a very controversial statement for some reason, especially in the United States, because I think in most European countries, like I've had Louis on, who's French, he said that a life sentence in France, for example, is a 20-year sentence. Um, Personally, I don't believe in life sentences, as in like someone literally in prison until the day they die for nonviolent criminals. I know that's a very touchy subject for some reason. Like for some reason, like this is a very controversial statement. To me, it is just like not just true about Sam Bankman-Fried. It just like seems just obviously true to me for any nonviolent criminal. This includes Alex Mashinsky, who I lost 250, oh my God, $250,000 to. I almost said millions because I've been talking about Sam Bankman-Fried numbers, who I lost $250,000 to and wanted to kill myself. I've talked openly about the fact that I wanted to kill myself after I lost all of that money to Alex Mashinsky. But even for Alex Mashinsky, after I lost all of that money, my immediate gut reaction wasn't, I want to see the guy in prison for life. My immediate gut reaction was, can we claw back every fucking dime he's ever benefited? And can we take back his fucking Manhattan penthouse? Can I, like, my immediate reaction is, can I get as much fucking money back as humanly possible? Because that actually impacts my recovery and my just financial well-being going forward. Um, Obviously, anyone who commits fraud should be punished. So I've never argued that these guys shouldn't go to prison. I think that sometimes my saying that I don't believe in life sentences for non-violent criminals is sometimes misconstrued, and people are like, so you don't think they deserve punishment? I'm like, obviously, if you commit massive scale financial fraud, you should be punished and you should get a prison sentence. But I just don't believe in a life sentence for anyone nonviolent. Personally, I don't love our criminal justice system. I think that like the US has like the highest rates of incarceration anywhere in the world. And ultimately, I'm like, the people that I want to see imprisoned for life with taxpayer dollars going towards feeding and housing and clothing them until the day they literally die are pedophiles, murderers, rapists, etc., who I want off the streets for my safety and everyone else's safety. So for some reason, that's like a really controversial statement, but it is just how I feel, not just for Sam Bankman-Fried, but for any nonviolent criminal. And I know I'm gonna get some like really angry comments about that, but if you like think that's such an audacious, horrific statement to make. I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe we fundamentally disagree on that ethically, and you're welcome to leave my channel at any time. I really don't mind. But to me, that's just like morally and ethically what I believe in, not specific to Sam Bankman-Fried, but even for Alex Mashinsky, who I lost money to and actively hate as a human being. Like, Alex Mashinsky and I have personal beef. Like, we've had our personal interactions and I fucking hate the guy, but I still have never actually like hoped he got a life sentence. So I just blabbed for quite a bit. So let me read some comments. Good job sleeping on the streets last night. Yeah, we can call it sleeping. It was more like literally laying in a pile of wet, soggy trash until 9 a.m., from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. So that was nice. And I didn't get a wink of sleep because I was laying in a wet, soggy pile of trash and raindrops were hitting my face all night. So, and then people were piling in. So then people were conversing around me. So I was like, I didn't sleep for even like 30 seconds last night. Someone says lower than you thought, honestly. You thought he would get at least 30. His colleagues are probably barely getting anything. I do agree that I actually, even going into this sentencing hearing, the way that Judge Lewis Kaplan was talking about the scale of these crimes, the magnitude of these crimes, and even his thoughts on if Sam might reoffend in the future, um, the way that Kaplan was talking about it, I was actually expecting him to give Sam the maximum, or at least like what the government was asking for, which was 40 to 50 years, because Kaplan was not just speaking to the nature and scale and magnitude of the crimes themselves, but also got into the character of Sam Bankman-Fried's character. For example, some things that he hinged on came straight from Caroline Ellison's testimony against Sam. For example, a couple things that he made huge points to point out were Caroline Ellison stating that at one point Sam Bankman-Fried thought he had a 5% chance of becoming president of the United States, which Kaplan, obviously didn't love and pointed to um, as a reason for why he came to the conclusion that Sam Bankman-Fried was in all of this for power and influence, and yeah, power and influence. And then he pointed to the other piece of Caroline Ellison's testimony, another piece of Caroline Ellison's testimony, which was when Caroline said that Sam Bankman-Fried at one point told her that he would take a coin flip if it was 50% heads, the entire world ends, tails, humanity ends up 2 times better off. So Judge Kaplan pointed to the fact that Sam Bankman-Fried said that he would take that coin flip as just, I guess, first of all, showing his insanely high risk tolerance, and secondly, kind of showed the way that Sam Bankman-Fried thinks in terms of expected value, and sort of basically said that, if Sam Bankman-Fried in his mind thought that the EV of maybe committing another fraud was worth it, and that the punishment wasn't severe enough, then he could reoffend potentially. So, based on all the things he was saying, and he also, I think, called this crime obviously like one of the largest financial crimes, and also political scandals or political frauds. Is it political frauds? Political contribution frauds in all of US history. The way that he was framing all of this leading up to his final reveal of what he would give Sam Bankman-Fried, the whole time I was like, oh, Sam is gonna get 40 to 50. Sam's gonna get 40 to 50. So I was actually a little shocked. God, I'm blabbing on. My brain is not fully functioning today, okay? I literally haven't slept. Someone says 25 seems about right. What's the restitution order? That's the restitution order. He was asked to forfeit $11 billion, but apparently there's a difference between restitution and remission. So the judge ordered against restitution and ordered in favor of remission, which I would have to read up on the legal difference between those things because I'm not a lawyer. Someone says different crimes, but interesting to compare this to Elizabeth Holmes, convicted of 1 count of conspiracy, 3 counts of wire fraud. Sbf was convicted of 2 counts of wire fraud. Okay, wait, let's see. Liz got 11 years reduced to 9. Wow, Liz's sentence was reduced to 9 years, or I think it's more like 9.5 or something like that last time I looked. And SBF got 25. That seems aligned, you guess. You don't really know. I don't know. It is an interesting comparison. Personally, I kind of found Theranos's fraud like quite audacious in that like it messed with people's actual health. Like I think that they were giving um false like HIV results to people, and I think they were also treating cancer patients who like obviously, you know, getting incorrect test results for a cancer patient would be since like so traumatic and like actually might lead to improper medical care. I don't know. I obviously pay more attention to SBF's trial than I did to Elizabeth Holmes, so I don't want to pretend I'm an expert on that. But like to me, I thought that like you know messing with people's actual health is quite ethically problematic. Obviously. Sorry, I'm so tired. So keep in mind that in the federal system, or sorry, I'm getting so many messages right now, so I'm getting stressed out. I'm getting a lot of notifications. In the federal system, there's no parole, so the most time that Sam can get off is 15% for good behavior. So he will have to serve at least 21 years of his sentence. So I know a lot of people though have been saying, "Oh, he's going to get like if he got 25 years, he's only going to serve half that." But there's no parole in the federal system, so he will have to serve at least 21 years. Which I know a lot of people I've seen on Twitter are saying you know, that is way too light a sentence. I will say that, you know, ultimately, I personally don't believe in life sentences for nonviolent criminals. So I would personally say that I think that 40 to 50 years would be a life sentence for someone who's 32 years old. So I personally think that 40 to 50 is too high. Personally, I know a lot of you guys disagree. I think it's too high because I just don't believe just ethically in a life sentence for a nonviolent criminal. I know a lot of you then argue Sam was a violent criminal, but I personally am like, if you don't see the distinction between the emotional distress caused by financial crime, which I was personally a victim of and completely understand. If you don't see the difference between the emotional distress caused by that and even the suicidal thoughts versus being actually murdered or raped, I just think that's like those two things cannot be conflated. Personally, that's what I think. Let's see. Sorry, I'm so bad at reading the comments right now. Yeah, he'll be out when he's about 57 if he doesn't get good time off. If he gets 15% off, he'll be out a little bit earlier, but basically in his 50s. He'll be out in his 50s. In his 50s. It is crazy though, because I mean, I was talking to Louis about this in one of my recent videos, and I mean, we obviously throw these numbers around. And, you know, when you compare this situation to Bernie Madoff, who got 150 years, some people think that Sam Bankman Fried's sentence was way too light. But ultimately, I'm kind of like, Bernie Madoff's sentence was largely just symbolic. Madoff was, I think, in his 70s when he was sentenced. So no one expected him to actually serve 150 years. This was largely just, you know, the judge obviously showing how severe his crime was. But Madoff, sorry, there's honking. I'm in New York City. Uh, Madoff was at the end of his life, and ultimately he only served 12 of those 150 years because he died. So I don't think the judge actually expected a 77-year-old to serve 150 years. It was largely just, you know, to send a message. So with someone much younger like Sam, again, I know it's a controversial statement, but I say this would apply to Mashinsky as well. I hope that neither actually have to be in prison until the day they literally die. I think both deserve prison sentences, but and I think that sometimes people forget that I personally lost the majority of my life savings to Alex Mashinsky, and I've publicly discussed the fact that I wanted to kill myself afterwards. So I'm very sentimental and empathetic to the viewpoint of all the distress and harm they have caused. But I don't know. To me, I'm just like, I just want to see the pedophiles and the rapists and the murderers in prison for the rest of their lives. Okay, reading some. Someone says, how do I figure he'll get out 10 years early? When did I say I thought he'd get out 10 years early? He's not going to get out 10 years early. And someone who says he'll be 45 when he gets out. How old do you think Sam Bankman-Fried is? He's 32 right now, so a 25-year sentence would leave him at 57 years old. And if he serves 21 years, that's not 45. Okay. Okay. Reading comments. Yeah, he's definitely serving more than 15. He was really annoying to the judge. I also thought that his SBF addressed the court today, and I did not think his speech was good. In his speech, he basically was like, not, he was not taking I don't know. He apologized for his actions. He acknowledged the harm that he caused. He sided with a victim who spoke, whose name was Sunil. And he was like, I completely understand where Sunil is coming from. I completely understand all the pain I've caused. I'm not the one who really matters here. It's the victims who matter. He said some of the right things, but also said a lot of the wrong things. He was like, but ultimately, it was just a liquidity crisis. Like, he was not owning the fact that it was criminal. So that certainly didn't make Judge Lewis Kaplan happy, nor the rest of the court. Um, Thank you, thank you, Amy Fedderden. Do I think that if Sam hadn't declared bankruptcy, FTX US would have enough money today to build a new federal prison within the Palo Alto city limits? Huh, that's a funny question. I have no idea how much it costs to build a federal prison. Don't have that number off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But thank you for the question. I have no idea how much it would cost to build a federal prison. Can I quit? Let's see. Yeah, I really need to sleep. Someone's like, please sleep. I'm like, yeah, I need to sleep. Thank you, kid32888. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your guys' donations, by the way. Thank you so much for donations. I also have my donation links in the description box if you want to just directly Venmo me or Cash App me or anything like that. You obviously don't have to. I'm putting this content out for free, but I have spent the last, almost 2 years, or is it a year and a half? Over a year and a half of my life following this case, largely because I find it fascinating, but I've dug, I've gone deep in this case. And, I don't work for a publication. I don't get paid any salary. So when I when I flew out to Sam's trial and I got an apartment in Manhattan, I have to pay for all of the expenses out of my own savings and out of my own pocket. And I went every single day to Sam's trial, and that was probably the most grueling thing I've ever done, just mentally and physically. And yeah, I flew myself out here. I paid for an apartment in Manhattan for over a month because I was expecting to cover Sam's second trial, which was scheduled to begin on March 8th. So I paid for this apartment starting a bit before March 8th till, after sentencing, because I wanted to cover this entire thing. But it was non-refundable, and Sam's second trial got canceled, so I didn't get to make all of those videos and cover the trial, but I did have to pay for the apartment. But yeah, so I really genuinely appreciate your guys' donations and super chats and Venmos and Cash Apps and whatever, because it does go towards supporting me and my coverage, because I literally make like nothing on YouTube, largely because I think I curse way too much for this algorithm. So YouTube like knocks me down every single time I post a video. So a lot of my videos I literally make like less than 20 bucks on YouTube ads. So I do have a couple of sponsors, and I have Aura linked in the description box. But anyway, I do really appreciate your donations. Okay, reading more comments. To you, it feels like the right amount. Um, Someone says you won't recognize Sam when he gets out. Oh, I will say that today I saw Sam in court, obviously. And okay, so I did see Sam in court, obviously, today. He first of all, during trial, he got to wear a suit, I think, so that it didn't make the jurors impartial to the fact that he was wearing prison garb. But since trial has ended and there were no jurors in the sentencing, Sam had to show up in what are called prison tans, according to my new friend G-Lock, ex-Blood Gang member G-Lock, and I've interviewed him on my YouTube channel. They're called prison tans. It literally looks like a potato sack. Like, it literally looks like Sam is wearing a potato sack. He's shackled. It's crazy to see someone who was once a multi-billionaire now in, what looks like a prison potato sack and wearing shackles. It is just kind of a sight to behold. Reading more comments. Elizabeth Holmes deserved longer. Yeah. Yeah, Theranos is a mother to a newborn, which helped her sentencing. And yeah, unfair, but it helped her. Yeah, that I'm sure that did help. Reading comments. Did I sleep on the street? Yes. I didn't sleep. I just laid on the street in the wet rain all night and didn't sleep at all. 25 years is pretty much life. Yeah, I mean, it's close. I mean, so there are studies that show that, being in prison shortens your life expectancy, and some studies have shown that like for every year you're in prison, 2 years of your life 2 years of your life expectancy are cut short. Oh, thank you so much, Adam, for the Venmo. Um, I appreciate it, truly. But anyway, so, for someone who is going to spend like 20 years in prison, like if your life expectancy is, decreasing every year you spend there, then one might consider 25 years close to life. Who knows how long he'll stay alive? I don't know. I'm not going to predict that, but just citing a couple studies I've seen. Thank you so much, Corrupted, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. That is so nice. Thank you so much. Someone says free SBF. Someone says 25 years seems light as hell. I feel like I've addressed my thoughts on that sentencing already. Quite a few free SBFs, actually. Thank you, Alabaster Smidge. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind on the comments. I'm getting through them. Thank you so much for the super chat, Alabaster Smidge. I really appreciate it. Truly, it really means so much to me. Like, because otherwise, I don't know how I do this. Oh, thank you, DW. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you. It's tough out here, guys. It's tough out here paying for a Manhattan apartment for a full month. It, guys, I don't live in luxury. You see my small little studio apartment? It does have a little baby kitchen there. But it's basically just my bed and a little kitchen and a bathroom. But I just really wanted to cover this. This is the end of an era. I've been, as I said to Louis in my last video, I've been balls deep in this case. So, I had to come see the end, So I'm dedicated. I was dedicated. You can tell I'm dedicated because I slept in, or didn't sleep. I laid in trash all night on the ground outside the courthouse. Video evidence on my Twitter at Tiffany Fong with one underscore. Do I like Del Taco? Yeah. Okay, let's see. You would love a studio like that for me. Honestly, I'm not someone who needs like a lot of space, or I don't need luxurious living. I mean, as you can see, I didn't actually have a problem with like laying on the ground all night. It's more just sucks because I'm tired, but I don't actually. I spent like 2.5 years of my life living in a hostel, so I'm not someone who needs like a luxurious fancy apartment or anything. But yeah. So I found a little baby Manhattan apartment that's as close to the courthouse as humanly possible. I liked this one because it was in walking distance to the courthouse. Anyway, I might have missed some comments, but I think I've gotten to the bottom of them. So if you guys have questions about sentencing or me or Sam or anything that's interesting, oh my God, thank you so much, Tito Tang. Thank you so much. Oh, 99.99. That's so sweet. Oh, hope to see more of my content in the future. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Thank you, Tito Tang. Does his I already went over the sentencing, but his sentencing only lasted, I think, maybe 4 hours or so. So it already happened. It was pretty fast. I honestly think that Judge Lewis Kaplan already had his mind made up going into this. Because yeah, and he basically sided with the government. So we started off the sentencing hearing with Judge Lewis Kaplan going over the total offense levels, and he went over, every point at which the government and Sam Bankman-Fried's defense were in disagreement. So I guess examples of this were, the government said that his total offense level should be increased because he perjured himself, for example, or witness tampered, for example. Sam's legal defense team obviously argued against that, saying he didn't perjure himself, he didn't witness tamper. So Judge Lewis Kaplan basically went through line by line and went, I side with the government on this. I also side with the government on this. He sided with the government on every single point for every increase in the total offense level. So that's how we started the sentencing hearing. That's part of why going into this from like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes into the sentencing hearing, I was like, Sam's gonna get life or 40 to 50 years. So throughout the sentencing hearing, Judge Lewis Kaplan just said more and more bad things about Sam Bankman-Fried. I don't think he said anything positive about him, like, well, at least Sam donated a lot of money. Like, he didn't say anything like, you can tell Sam is actually altruistic, though. Like, he didn't say anything like that. Everything was negative towards Sam. Obviously, I mean, the man was found guilty. But So I'm just saying that ultimately I was surprised that it wasn't a 40 to 50-year sentence. But again, going back to what I've said in the past, I personally wouldn't have supported a 40 to 50-year sentence because I think that that would basically be a life sentence for someone who's 32 years old. And again, I don't personally believe in life sentences for nonviolent criminals. Um, but I know a lot of people disagree. What is my normal job? Um, I made a bunch of online stores in the past, and some of them are still running, so it earns me some consistent income. Beyond that, I do rely on your guys' donations and support, and I also have a couple of sponsors. I might as well shout out my most ongoing. They're not paying me to shout them out in this video. I will just say that my most consistent ongoing sponsorship has been with aura.com/Tiffany. Aura.com/Tiffany. Maybe I should write that in the comments. Because I literally use Aura myself. They're basically a data security and identity theft protection company, and the thing that I love the most about Aura, although they are a full suite of services, they have a password manager, a VPN, financial fraud protection. They have a whole suite of services. But the thing that I actually signed up to Aura for was that they constantly scan the web, searching to see where your information has been leaked online. And if you haven't searched this, I had never searched all the places my information had been leaked online prior to using Aura. So once you enter your information, it will show you all of these sketchy data broker websites where your information has been leaked and is being sold for profit. And often like scammers and hackers use those websites to target your personal information and try to scam and hack you or whatever. So Aura, like at aura.com/Tiffany, you can go to a 2-week free trial, and you can like if you don't like it, you can literally cancel if you don't like it. I don't want you guys to pay for something you don't like. But I like Aura because they let you have a 2-week free trial. If you don't like it, cancel anytime. But I genuinely literally pay for a monthly Aura subscription, and they've found so much of my personal information leaked online and removed it for me. So they automatically go through and submit opt-out requests to all of these sketchy data broker websites. So it just keeps my information clean online. And for anyone, especially if you're involved in the crypto space, etc., like you are at higher risk of being hacked or being targeted by hackers and scammers. So it's personally something I genuinely recommend trying out. Even if you just want to check and see where your information's been leaked, get that stuff removed. And then if you don't want to use Aura, you can cancel the free trial and you don't have to pay for it. But that's why I feel totally comfortable promoting them, because if you don't like it, you can cancel. And I literally use Aura. I've literally recommended Aura to my mother and my sister, who both use Aura consistently to this day. So just saying, that's my little Aura plug. But I will say that, consistent sponsors like Aura, and I will say I've turned down every single crypto sponsorship. I don't promote meme coins. I don't promote NFT projects, exchanges, Web3 projects, anything. So I've turned down a lot of money because I don't want to promote anything that I don't use myself or trust, etc. But Aura, I literally use and trust, so that's why they've been my ongoing sponsor. So it does support me if you want to check them out as well, just because I want to maintain that sponsorship forever, honestly. So I obviously, if no one signs up using my link, I assume that they don't want to work with me anymore. So if you want to use my Aura link, it's aura.com/Tiffany. Thank you so much, Glenn Finston, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. That is so sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Glenn. Love you. Does Sam get out if one of his parents passes? I don't even know what that means. Thank you so much, Corrupted, for the second super chat. What's next for the others, Caroline, etc.? Do I know what they're facing and when? I actually don't know the exact dates they're being sentenced, but they should be sentenced quite shortly. I heard that typically they're usually everyone in one case is usually sentenced in a short time span. I should check up on that. I will ask someone close to the case when they're being sentenced. But from everyone I've spoken to and people who were federal prosecutors, I've heard that it's very likely that Caroline, Gary, Nishad will all get out scot-free. I've heard that it's very likely they'll get 0 jail time, which to me, I mean, this is what's crazy about the criminal justice system. I'm not someone who would wish life sentences on any of them, but it is wild to me that someone like Sam, actually, he got 25 years, which isn't it's still really long, but I was going to say, someone like Sam who was facing 110 years is like the person that is targeted, but then anyone who cooperates against them, even if they were co-conspirators, can literally just rat and get out with 0 jail time. Obviously, I understand that the government is trying to incentivize people to work with the government and to cooperate, but to me, cooperation should mean like you get a decreased sentence. Like if you were going to be sentenced to 25 years, maybe you get 5 years, 10 years. I don't know. It's crazy that it can just drop to 0 if you rat on someone. I think that's kind of wild in the criminal justice system. But yeah, so from everyone I've spoken to and from former federal prosecutors I've talked to, they think that it's very likely that Caroline, Gary, and Nishad get nothing. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jeff Nadu. You're a great journalist, one of the few left in this country. SBF got off okay. Going to be in FCI. Low is big for him. Thank you so much, Jeff. I've been on Jeff Nadu's podcast before. So if you guys want to follow Jeff, he's lovely. And I really appreciate the super chat. That is so sweet. And thank you for the compliment calling me a good journalist because, or a great journalist, because, you know, I never title myself a journalist. I never label myself anything because, you know, I came into all of this with no background in journalism. I don't fully know what I'm doing. I'm Googling things along the way. Even in my conversations with Sam Bankman-Fried, obviously, like, I knew what on the record and off the record were generally because I think those are generally used terms. But sometimes he'll use a term like on background or embargoed or whatever. And I'm like, yep, got it, Sam. And then I have to go Google it. So, you know, throughout this entire process of covering the FTX SBF trial, I've felt a little bit in over my head and I've been trying to just learn as I go. So I appreciate that compliment. I'm very new to this and that's very sweet. Shout out to Jeff Nadu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name. Is it Nadu, Nadu? I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. And thank you, Gerard Allen. Hi, Princess. You are so dedicated. Love you. Thank you. Thank you. I truly have been so dedicated to this story because I honestly really found it fascinating from the beginning. I found it really interesting. I mean, as someone who was the victim of the Celsius fraud and I started my YouTube channel because I was covering Celsius. As someone who was already interested in the Celsius collapse, then the FTX collapse coming a few months after was even more grand and an even greater fall from grace for Sam himself. So I found that sort of psychologically interesting. And then getting the access I was able to get, I I'm it's bittersweet that it's over just because I was so enthralled by this case and so personally involved just to some degree. Like I, you know, being able to talk to Sam over his house arrest, I obviously got to see him as a three-dimensional human being. And I've said before that like to some degree I considered him a friend. Sometimes not. It fluctuates. But like, you know, you talk to someone enough about difficult things like the prospect of life in prison. Oh, I just posted a clip of one of our house arrest conversations yesterday. But you start to see them as a three-dimensional person and you start to get quite invested in what's going to happen to this person that I've spent so many hours speaking with. So I don't know if I'm going to find another case that I'm this emotionally and this emotionally invested in, but also just a case that's this big. I mean, this is probably the biggest financial fraud scandal since Madoff. So I don't know what's going to be interesting after this. Someone's going to commit a little $1 million fraud and I'll just be like, that's nothing. I'm just kidding. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what the future has in store. Okay, reading. Okay. Adjusted Bunny, I don't know if you're sending like this many comments in a row, but this is a little bit much. And if you keep sending so many comments in a row, I am going to block you. Oh, Matthew Nugent, thank you so much. You love Gene Borello telling him was getting life. Gene was the best interview regarding Sam. I'm glad you liked the Gene Borello interview. And, you know, Jeff Nadu has actually interviewed Gene multiple times. So you can check out Jeff Nadu's channel too. But yeah, Gene and we talk pretty much every single day. So I'm like, next time we're in the same city, I'll have him on my channel again. And I actually saw Jean like a couple weeks ago in New York City. But yeah, next time we're in the same city, we'll do a real in-person sit-down interview because Jean is now one of my friends, and we talk very, very consistently. Shout out Jean. Sorry, going through comments. Mashinsky should get more time than SBF. See, it's funny because I think ethically what Mashinsky did was worse than what SBF did, the way that I think that Mashinsky himself and Celsius were just more predatory, particularly to vulnerable individuals. For example, Mashinsky was specifically trying to get people to move things like their retirement savings and the money that was in their Roth IRAs from their Roth IRAs into Celsius Network. Like he was specifically targeting people's life savings in a way that I don't think that a derivatives crypto exchange necessarily was. Obviously, FTX was marketed as a safe derivatives crypto exchange, and it wasn't that. But I don't think that FTX was ever specifically targeting vulnerable individuals and their literal life savings and retirement funds in a way that Celsius Network was. So personally, and also there are so many other reasons that I think that Mashinsky is worse. For example, I think that Celsius was basically a fraud from day one because even in the examiner's report, it came out that Celsius was always marketing that they were giving 80% of their revenue to customers as their APY or their weekly rewards. I forget if it was weekly or monthly. But anyway, they always marketed that they were giving 80% of their revenue to customers, when in reality, at no point in Celsius's history were they ever earning enough to pay out those uh, rewards. Oh my God, why am I blanking on words right now? It's probably because I'm lacking sleep. Anyway, Celsius was never making enough money to pay out those rewards. So they were literally, seemingly, paying out customer rewards from other customer deposits, which literally seems like the definition of a fucking Ponzi. So, and this was starting from day one. Like, Celsius was never earning enough revenue to pay out those rewards. So, essentially, I think that Celsius was a fraud from literally inception, from literal day one, and that Alex Mashinsky was also more predatory as a person. And there's a whole host of other reasons that I think Alex Mashinsky is a shittier person, but I do think he'll probably get a lesser sentence than Sam Bankman-Fried, largely because the dollar amount is much smaller. And if you look at the sentencing guidelines, it seems like dollar amount plays like the largest role in sentencing. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't want like, don't you don't have to quote me on that because Sam's trial is the first trial I've ever followed from like start to finish. First financial fraud case I've been super entrenched in. So I could be wrong, but I feel like Mashinsky's case is less high profile. Less people know who Alex Mashinsky and Celsius are. So I think the judge will probably have like less a reason to want to throw the book at Mashinsky. I am on YouTube and live. Someone says Coffeezilla has a wife and kids. When did it sound like I thought that he didn't? Thank you so much, Treble Magus. You are a joy to follow. You missed a great opportunity to follow Bang Energy Bankruptcy. Check it out if it interests me. PM to discuss. I have not looked at Bang Energy Bankruptcy, but if there's a lot of fraud involved, maybe I will. Thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Christopher Cripps, thank you so much for the super chat. Good to see you. Learning by reading, listening to internet searching is how you learned Fed court stuff. Is SBF appealing? Yes, I'm pretty much positive that Sam will appeal. That is very in his character. Ugh. Why does someone think that? Oh, did Coffeezilla just post a video with me in it? Because Coffeezilla did just interview me. I think it might be for the Voidzilla channel, though. I'm not sure. Did he just post it? Am I in it? Am I in it? I don't think I'm in it. No, I don't think I'm in it. Why is everyone bringing up Coffeezilla right now? We did just chat, so I was like, did he post it already? Jesus, because we literally just got off right before I started this. But it was really quick. Okay, reading comments. Coffeezilla has a good take on this. Oh, I did repost Coffeezilla's commentary on sentencing. And Coffeezilla did agree in like the podcast that I reposted a clip of. It's in my shorts, but he was saying that like he doesn't necessarily care that a judge throws the book at someone and puts them in prison for life. He was like, I want more fraud cases prosecuted rather than just like, I don't know. He was like, I don't really know if there's a drastic difference between Sam getting 20 years versus 100 years in terms of deterrence, but that he wants to see more fraudsters go to prison. Wait, why? Can you tell me why everyone is talking about Coffeezilla right now? Did he just post something with me in it? Why is there suddenly a bunch of talk about Coffeezilla? I'm just confused. Do I need to like search online for what's happening? Did he tag me in something? I'm so confused. Please let me know. Sorry, I'm checking my Twitter. Okay, I'm back. Okay, Adjusted Bunny's getting annoying. Should I block him? I did not talk to you, Tiff. You're super when did I say that I spoke with someone named Midge? Free Chili Castro? Who's Chili Castro? Aren't there some more FTX cases coming up? SBF's parents? I don't think his parents are going to be charged. I mean, since they haven't been indicted yet, I'd be kind of surprised now. I think that they got who they wanted. I think that the government wanted Sam Bankman-Fried and they got him. So I don't really expect there to be a bunch of other indictments, but I could be wrong. But that's what I've heard from like some conversations with other journalists. But granted, journalists aren't lawyers, so I don't know. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Block the bunny guy? Yeah, I'll block him. Because I should nap at some point today, because I literally haven't slept. Will I visit Sam in prison? Sam and I have a tumultuous relationship. Sometimes we don't quite get along. I think I hurt his feelings sometimes with some of the things I say on my YouTube channel. But, you know, ultimately, like, I think of Sam as sort of a friend. We have a strange relationship, I guess. So I would love to visit Sam in prison. We'll see if he will let me. Sent from Heavens, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Shout out. Thank you. Thank you. Oh God, I haven't eaten a full meal today either. Oh my God, wait, what is the last thing I ate? I brought like beef jerky, a bar of chocolate. Oh, I brought you know those Trader Joe's like like things of beans like in a pouch or lentils in a pouch, like Madras lentils. Okay, all I've eaten since 9:30 p.m. last night were a Trader Joe's pouch of Madras lentils, a bar of chocolate. I had a few bites of someone else's bacon, egg, and cheese. Beef jerky. That's not a lot of food. I need to eat. Shit, I need to eat. I'm starving and I'm exhausted. You're curious if it felt like the APY rewards were the cause of the downfall, but we see some platforms are still offering it and haven't had issues where they were. Well, Celsius specifically, I think, was trying to beat out other rewards. Like Celsius was trying to have higher rewards than BlockFi, for example. Sorry, I can't talk. I literally haven't slept. BlockFi or Voyager. So Celsius was constantly increasing their reward percentage even when it was completely unsustainable. So I think Celsius specifically was probably worse than other companies that offer APY. But obviously, after watching Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi all fucking collapse, I would not recommend you put money into something offering you APY personally. I mean, just to be safe. So I'm not vouching for any of these companies, but I do think Celsius was worse because they were just like it came out in the examiner report that they would literally just compare their APY with the APY of their competitors and just make sure that theirs was the highest, even if it was not sustainable for their like numbers. Um, but also, Celsius was just degenning with a lot of our money as well. Like Celsius was saying that they were just simply lending to trustworthy institutional investors, which was bullshit because they were literally buying fucking NFTs with our money. They were day trading. Like Alex Mashinsky had some ridiculous Bitcoin day trades where he was like buying some really high, selling it the next day really low, like panic selling like a little bitch. Like I'm like, Alex Mashinsky's a fucking idiot. But yeah, so they were doing a lot of other shit behind the scenes, but I also think it was problematic that they were literally just trying to constantly beat out the competition in terms of the like percentage APY they were offering. So that was just obviously unsustainable. And like they literally never made enough, like it came out in the examiner report that they literally never made enough revenue to pay out 80% of their revenue to customers, which was like part of their marketing. They said that they were paying out 80% of their revenue to customers in APY, which was just bullshit from day one. So Celsius is just a fucking disaster. Honestly, I think Celsius is a disaster more so than FTX, although obviously FTX was much larger scale, obviously had far more victims, so I'm not saying it's actually like worse in impact, but like I think the fraud at Celsius was like ethically more problematic almost. Reading comments. Um yeah, I don't like promote any APY platforms, or I don't promote any crypto companies. That has been my rule. Would you guys get mad if I took like an exchange sponsorship or something like that? I don't know why I've made it my rule where I'm just like I won't promote anything in crypto, cuz for some reason I like hold myself to that standard, but I'm like I would certainly make a lot more money if I took crypto sponsorship since my channel's quite niche. It's kind of in the crypto space. So I get a lot of offers from crypto companies, but so far I've said no to everyone. Um Yeah, they were literally degenning with customer funds. Um, when are creditors seeing funds? Are you talking about FTX or Celsius? FTX, it looks like there are enough funds to make customers dollar whole. And I've made so many videos on this. I made a recent one with Louis, so you can watch that if you want to. It looks like FTX customers will be made dollar whole, but keep in mind that the way that bankruptcy works is that your claim, which is the amount that the company owes you, is dollarized on the petition date. So the date that the company files for bankruptcy. And it just seems that, bankruptcy code was not built for crypto companies where crypto prices are constantly fluctuating. So that did not work out too well for FTX creditors because the day that FTX filed for bankruptcy was basically the bottom of the crypto market. So Bitcoin was worth below $17,000. I believe it was worth $16,000 and $16,800 at the time that FTX filed for bankruptcy. So basically, the amount that FTX owes you based on bankruptcy code is just frozen on that date when Bitcoin was really low. Obviously, since then, crypto prices have skyrocketed. So you're basically missing out on all of the gains since November 11th. And a lot of people blame that on Sam Bankman Fried specifically. The fraud part is Sam Bankman Fried's fault. The way that the bankruptcy code works has nothing to do with Sam. Actually, like Sam, even actually today in sentencing, he was arguing like how the bankruptcy has been handled like horribly, and he wishes that customers could just get their crypto back. But that's not how bankruptcy works. So, this is just the bankruptcy Chapter 11 team and the judge. I think Judge Dorsey is the FTX judge, but he's basically ruled that like they're not going to depart from normal bankruptcy code in that like claims are going to be dollarized on that low date at the low point of the market, and that's what FTX technically owes you. And it seems really difficult or nearly impossible to argue for customers to get more than 100% of that claim value, if that makes any sense. I've described this more clearly in other videos, and there's tons of FTX update videos on my YouTube channel, so if you want to watch any of those, you can, but I feel like I've described it a little more clearly on other videos. Someone says free SBF. There are way more criminals out there. Um, I'm not like vouching to. I'm not someone who's saying to free him. Obviously, I think that there should be some punishment, but I'm like. I think that like what I think is a fine sentence in terms of prison time is probably lower than what most people would think was fine. So, like, I don't know. I just don't really agree with the way the criminal justice system works in the United States. And it is funny to talk to, like, so, first of all, most FTX creditors, actually all FTX international creditors, which was much larger than FTX US, were outside of the United States. And in a lot of the, like, so for example, there are a lot of European customers, and I've spoken to so many people in Europe about like sentencing, and apparently a life sentence in Europe is 20 years. So it's illegal apparently to sentence someone to more than 20 years unless they're considered like a menace to society. So they're like a serial killer or something like that. But like Sam would not have ever gotten more than 20 years in Europe. And from people I've spoken to, they've said like he wouldn't have even gotten that maximum, because that's the maximum of 20 years is like mostly reserved for like violent criminals in Europe. Apparently, or I think that the person I'm referring to is from France, and I've also spoken to some people in like London and whatever. But I think that I kind of think that like the U.S. has the highest incarceration rates in the entire world, so it seems that we tend to over sentence people. Might be a controversial statement. I don't know, but I don't think that I like am a fan of the U.S. criminal justice system in general. Part of you was expecting the Madoff standard in sentencing respect on declining crypto sponsorships. See, but the Madoff standard, I just don't like. I don't think there's an example that would come close to Madoff. And I think that Madoff's sentence was genuinely like symbolic, because Madoff was sentenced when he was over 70 years old. So no one, like the judge was not expecting him to serve a 150-year sentence. Ultimately, he served 12 years because he was like at the end of his life. So he literally died within 12 years of his sentence. So I don't know, like I personally don't think that the 150-year Madoff sentence is necessarily comparable to someone who's much younger, who actually like, if they were sentenced to 150 years, would actually live a full like 40, 50 years in prison. Madoff literally only had to live through 12 years of prison. Does that make sense? So I personally am kind of like, I think the Madoff sentence isn't necessarily fair to compare to someone who's much younger, because no one expected Madoff to actually serve 150 years. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? Guys, I'm even getting sniffles. I might have gotten sick last night because I literally didn't sleep and I was just sitting in the rain all day. Oh, I'm having trouble breathing. Okay. Anyway. I should write a book on it and see if it gets picked up. Yeah, some book publishers have approached me. I don't know. I have to think through if I feel like ethically fine with that. Like if I wrote a book on Sam, since like, I luckily was able to get so much access to Sam during his house arrest, etc. If I didn't run past him like, hey, would you be okay with me writing a book on all of our fucking conversations over the past year and a half? I'd feel ethically weird if I didn't run that by someone. It'd be like having a bunch of conversations with anyone and then writing a book about them without them knowing you're writing a book on them. So I kind of would want to run that by Sam if I was going to write a book on Sam, if that makes sense. So it's not something I'm currently pursuing, but I've been offered like, or I've been approached by some book agents and stuff. Someone's like, he'll be eligible for parole in about 8 years. Some of you are like retarded, and I've already gone over this, but there's no parole in the federal system. So the most amount of time he can get off his 25-year sentence is 15%. So he will serve at least 21 years. Like there's literally still people, like I feel like even yesterday there were still people who were like, Sam's not going to get any prison time because he donated to Democrats. I'm like, some of you people are like delusional, like the way that you think this works. Do I think he can appeal to under 5 years? I don't think that an appeal is going to be successful personally, but I mean, he's welcome to try, but I don't personally think it'll be successful. The bankruptcy laws need to be updated for this new novel asset, crypto. I agree, because I mean, as someone who sat through Celsius's bankruptcy, the way that the bankruptcy system works, I mean, the same thing happened to Celsius. Our bankruptcy claims were dollarized on the petition date when Bitcoin was worth, I don't remember the actual exact number. It was a little bit, I think it was worth like 20K or something like that. So it was a little bit higher than when FTX filed for bankruptcy. But like my claim, so for example, when I deposited my 3.1 Bitcoins and 11.6 ETH onto Celsius, it was worth well over $250,000. By the time Celsius filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy when crypto prices had plummeted, I think my claim was worth like 80K or something like that. So that 80K amount is what Celsius technically legally owes me. Does that make sense? So, like, yeah, bankruptcy code is not built for collapsing crypto companies. That's part of why I found this all fascinating, because it's just like a new territory that seems kind of unexplored, and I found it kind of interesting to explore something that's kind of new. Um, but yeah, there should be some reform there. It does suck though that these bankruptcies seem to be setting the precedent for future crypto bankruptcies, because now if a crypto company collapses and like the previous like FTX and Celsius just dollarized claims on the petition date, then it would be difficult to try to set a different precedent for a future bankruptcy case. So I don't know how it would actually be fixed, but it's very backwards. Uh, yeah, I survived the night on the courtroom steps. Okay, people are saying my explanations made sense about Madoff. What kind of prison is SBF going to? I've said this before, but Judge Kaplan, I do think that this was, I guess, nice of Judge Kaplan that he requested that Sam be sent to a medium or a low security prison, which is, I think that Sam would probably literally fucking get his ass beat in a max security prison with like literal like serial killers. Do you know what I mean? So personally, I'm glad that he's not going to be like killed or I don't know, who knows, he could be killed or raped. I don't know what's going to happen in prison, but like I don't think he should be in a maximum security with literal murderers and serial killers and rapists or whatever the fuck. So and Judge Kaplan did note that Sam certainly does have autism. I guess this was the one point he conceded on, actually. He did note that Sam does have autism. He even I think said like it's abundantly clear to me or something along those lines, where he cited the letters that came into the court talking about Sam's autism, and Judge Kaplan was like, yeah, I mean it's indisputable. Like he was like, he's obvious, he was talking about his Sam's awkwardness. He was like, yeah, he's an awkward guy and he certainly has a lot of behaviors that are very off-putting. So he did note that Sam's safety would be at risk in a maximum security prison, so that's why he did call for a medium or a minimum security. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind on the comments. Whew. There's a lot of commenters today. It's a big day, guys. Which prison? It's up to the BOP. Yeah. So Kaplan also did recommend, and I said this earlier, he did recommend a prison as close to the San Francisco Bay Area as possible because that's where his family lives, so that he can get visits from his family. And I think that's fair. First of all, this is another thing. Like, as much as Barbara Fried and I, hold on, Barbara Fried and I have our personal problems. If you haven't watched my YouTube video, I have a YouTube video on this, but Barbara Fried fucking hates me. She has made known to me that she fucking hates me. We had an altercation, we had a little confrontation during trial at the courthouse. There's a YouTube video on this on my YouTube channel if you want to look it up. But as much as I personally don't get along with Sam Bankman-Fried's parents and know that most people fucking hate them and think they should be in prison, I will say that like I don't think there's anything worse than losing your child, whether it be to death or like a prison sentence that will outlive you. Like Barbara and Joe are, I believe, in their late 60s or early 70s. So Sam Bankman-Fried being in prison for 25 years or at minimum 21 years means that they will never see their son free for the rest of their lives. So as much as I dislike Sam's parents as much as anyone, I will say that like just on a human level that I can't imagine what you must be going through as a parent to know that you are going to die before your son is going to be let out of prison. Like that must be really difficult. So I do on a human level feel a little bit bad for them, as much as I fucking hate them as much as the next person. And like on a personal level, Barbara and I have literally, like Barbara made clear that she hates me too. So this does not come from any like personal ties to them. I just like on a human level, I today actually I was sitting right behind Barbara and Joe, like literally in the row right behind them. And it was like kind of tragic to see like both of them like head in their hands, and like Joe had his hands over his ears, and like it was kind of sad to see someone just in front of you reacting that way, and watching your son get sentenced to like a sentence which means they will never see you free for the rest of their lives. I don't know. It was a little bit sad to see. And if you have a problem with me having a human emotion to someone else's human emotions, then like you can leave my YouTube channel. Because ultimately, like I feel like I'm just trying to be honest on my YouTube channel, and I know that some things might upset some people, but like there are things I've said like at various points I kind of considered Sam Bankman-Fried a friend. How genuine was our friendship? To what degree was he trying to use me for good press? And to what degree like did I kind of just want to get a scoop? We have a weird relationship, but like, you know, we've had like a lot of conversations, a lot of long conversations. I've whined to Sam about boys I'm dating. I've whined to Sam about my depression. Uh, and Sam has talked to me about all of his many things going on. So, you know, Sam has listened to me through some of my whining. I've listened to Sam through some of his whining. So, at some points I would consider Sam a friend. I don't know how genuine our friendship was. I don't know if Sam considers me a friend, but I will say that like I'm human and I'm quite an empathetic person. I think I can sit down with anyone and empathize with them and have a normal human conversation with them. If you haven't noticed on my YouTube channel, I've been interviewing blood gang members, ex-mafia enforcers, Ray Trapani, who is the other crypto criminal on that Bitcoin documentary on Netflix. I can sit down with anyone and like empathize with them and have a normal conversation with them. So if anyone gets really upset that I had human conversations with Sam, then sorry, you can leave. Yeah, max security would be nuts. Sorry. I keep going on little rants and then missing some comments. So no, so they're not putting him in max. Judge Kaplan requested that he be put in a medium or a minimum, which I think is a good call. Because I don't think he deserves to get like fucking stabbed or something like that in a max. Um Autism is a superpower. Autists are great. Will I visit Sam on his birthday every year? I mean, Sam doesn't care about birthdays in the first place. I do have a YouTube short of Sam talking to me about how he feels about birthdays. And he was just like, I don't know why people give a fuck about birthdays. Like, so I don't think he would care if I visited him on his birthday in the first place. Barb out here wildin'. Yeah. She's 73. Yeah, Barbara's 73. So she's definitely not going to be alive by the time Sam gets out, because he's going to get at least 21 years. I mean, I mean, it's very unlikely, especially with all the. I'm not trying to say I like them. I'm saying like with all the stress they've had to go through this trial, I'm sure that's knocked a few years off their life expectancies. So I really don't think that she's going to survive um, through Sam getting released. And I don't take pleasure in that. I honestly find that kind of sad, even though I don't like Barbara. I've never actually had a confrontation with Joe, but you know, Barbara and I don't get along. So I've made that public on my YouTube channel. Is there someone keeps commenting, is there a possibility he could only serve 8 years max than parole? No, there's literally no possibility. I've addressed this before, but there's no parole in the federal system. So the most time he can get off is 15% of 25 years. So that would still be over 21 years. But there's no parole in the federal system, so he can't get 8 years. Someone says, this is why you're not a journalist. You've crossed professional boundaries with Sam. Yeah, I've never called myself a journalist. And I do think that like with every single person I've interviewed, I've become friends with them. Like I text with Jean Borello every single day. We go drink and party when we're in the same city. We're not romantically involved, by the way. I know I always get everyone accuses me of being romantically involved with like every single person I've ever interviewed. We're not romantically involved. G-Lock, G-Lock and I are friends as well. I talk to G-Lock all the time, ask him how he's doing, if he's finding work. I want to try to get him a laptop because he doesn't have a laptop and he just got out of prison and he was an ex-blood gang member. And like, who's going to hire the guy? He has face tattoos and he's been in and out of prison for his entire life and he has no high school degree. And I want to help him get a laptop because maybe he can make some money online. I get way too invested with the people that I interview. I do end up considering them friends. I do care about how they do in life. And I think that typically journalists try to keep a lot of distance from their sources, or like they wouldn't like, they don't want to get too cozy with their sources or become too friendly with their sources. I personally like everyone I've interviewed so far has become my friend, and I talk to them regularly, and I'll go out to get drinks with them, or I will oh sorry, someone asked me to comment on a story. Anyway, so I think that I probably get too friendly with everyone I've interviewed because I just don't see them as interview subjects to just do a piece on. I usually look at people that I asked to interview as just like a human being I'm having a conversation with, and just have a normal hot conversation with them. In case you haven't noticed, my interviews aren't necessarily professional. I literally was doing tequila shots with G-Lock in my last interview on my YouTube channel. So I think of everyone I interview as a friend. Sorry, I have to read this text. Someone asked me. Okay, I'll read it later. He asked me for commentary on an article, and then I didn't respond in time, and he was like, "Okay, the article's out." Anyways, um, you wonder how much Sam's chronic depression played into his inability to empathize. That can happen if it's super bad. Yeah, I think that they all might just be part and parcel with each other, though. Like, I just feel like he has a limited emotional range, so he doesn't feel any highs. He feels no positive emotion, so he says. I don't know if that's true. I'm kind of like, you certainly feel some, joy. You certainly have felt some pleasure. I don't know if it's necessarily as much pleasure or joy as other people feel, but he says he doesn't feel any positive emotion, but he only feels negative emotion, but not worse than, an average person would feel it. So like, I don't think he has extreme low mood swings, but so I think that that comes part and parcel with maybe like a lack of empathy. I don't want to label him anything. I know that like maybe some of those traits might align with autism. Those traits might also align with things like sociopathy, or a lot of those, cluster B personality types like sociopathy or narcissism or psychopathy. I don't want to label him any of those things. I don't think he fits squarely into any of those definitions. It might be a little mixture of all of those things, or he might be like on a sliding scale of any of those things. He might be somewhere on the spectrum. But yeah, I don't know. Um, Oh, thank you, Shamos, for the super chat. Nice work sleeping in the rain. Thank you. It was really hard. I'm really exhausted and I still haven't slept. So I keep saying sleeping in the rain, but I more mean laying on wet trash in the rain, in the cold, outside of the courthouse. I didn't actually sleep, but thank you so much. I appreciate it, Shamos. Shout out. Oh, someone just asked if I don't I think I have do I think he has NPD narcissist? I just addressed that. So I don't think he fits squarely into any of them, and I do think that he does actually feel some empathy. Um, I do think he's expressed some empathy to me about some things I've gone through, or I've read some of his personal writings where he's expressing empathy about people around him. So I think he feels empathy, but I don't think it's like maybe to the degree that other people do. But I mean, who knows? That could be on this like some sliding scale of one of those cluster B personality types, but I don't want to label him. Because I'm not a therapist, and I'm not like I don't feel equipped to label anyone anything. I should work with CopyZilla. CopyZilla just interviewed me. Um, I need a boob job, Tiff. I actually just don't show my boobs very much because I try not to be a little whore, but I actually have a good size boobs, so I'm fine. I don't need a boob job. Um, I mean, I think that there are some articles that have posted boob photos of me, and I didn't find them very tasteful. But I do have a D cup, so I don't need a boob job. Anyway, um, do I think Sam likes me as more than a friend? Some people are like, do you think Sam is in love with me? Like, I certainly don't think Sam is in love with me whatsoever. Does he like me as more than a friend? He's never been creepy towards me. He's never said anything inappropriate. He's never pressured me into anything. I know I do get that question a lot. If anything, I just have a very open, like, maybe flirty personality. I'm very like, when I'm with people, if you watch any of my interviews, half the comments when I'm interviewing a guy is Tiffany has a crush on them, or she has a like he has a crush on Tiffany. I think my personality is quite open and flirty and whatever. So if anything, like I'm sitting next to Sam, like touching his shoulder or like laughing or whatever, and he's like not he's not creepy to me at all. So um uh yeah, I don't know what he feels internally, but I will say that he's never like pressured me into anything weird or like been like, so like would you be down to, I don't know. Sam hasn't been creepy or weird. He's always been really respectful. It's a new breed of journalism. Shout out. I honestly find it more interesting than like normal journalism because I first of all, I don't look at anyone that I'm interviewing as just like a source, but I also think that you generally talk about more in-depth, interesting topics when you are talking to a friend than you would if I was just a journalist with a pre-written list of questions I wanted to ask someone personally. Maybe other people don't agree, and maybe you find my conversations and interviews with people boring, which you can, and I'm not a professional at this, but like I personally like enjoy having real conversations with people rather than like coming to someone with like a pre-written list and looking at them as just like a subject for an article or something like that. I Why is everyone bringing up coffee today? I Did he post something that I'm in? I've been in CoffeeZilla videos before, like in the past, but I'm just confused. Oh, I was gonna say, why does my back hurt so much? But I'm like, maybe because I was laying on stone granite all night in the cold in like water all night. Maybe it's that. Did I face any New York rats last night? No rats approached me, but like on the way to and from court, I saw some rats. Oh, thank you, Terry Leong. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, Thank you. Oh, it's for sleeping outside the courthouse. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. I appreciate that, Terry. Some people who are like 50 years would have been fitting. You're asking for a life sentence, so you think a life sentence would be fitting? Like to me, I see no in the same way that Bernie Madoff, there would be no distinction between giving Bernie Madoff a 20-year sentence versus giving him a 150-year sentence because both are life sentences. Bernie Madoff was never expected to live out a 150-year sentence. So to me, Bernie literally only served 12 years of his 150-year sentence because he died. So no like the judge did not expect Bernie to serve 150 years. So to me, saying that Sam Bankman-Fried deserves a 50-year sentence, which is a life sentence because Sam Bankman-Fried is already 32 years old, the average life expectancy is 77. And there are studies that show that for every year of prison you spend, your life expectancy decreases by 2 years. So, with given those factors, if you think that he deserves a 50-year sentence, you are asking for a life sentence. And if you want that, then I see no difference between giving him a 50-year sentence versus a 150-year, 200-year, 300-year sentence. So, do you think he deserves all of those things? Because personally, I think that he deserves to see the light of day at some point in his life. And hopefully, he comes out having thought through all of his actions. I certainly think that 25 years is quite a long time. Um, but anyway, anyone who argues that he deserves 50 years, I'm kind of like, so then would you also be okay with him getting 150 years, 200 years? Because those are essentially the same thing because he'd be dead. Um, Thank you, Oscar Vasquez. I appreciate your super chat. Thank you. Love my YouTube channel. Keep killing it. Thank you, Oscar. I appreciate that so much. Um, Ross got 2 life sentences plus 40 years. I know. I think that's insane. Free Ross. I responded to Ross. It was Ross Ulbricht's birthday today or yesterday. Oh my God. Did I even say his name correctly? It was Ross's birthday yesterday, and I responded to his birthday post, Free Ross, because He's been in jail since I believe he was 29 years old, and he's now 40 years old. And I think that's too long a sentence. He was given double life, I believe. Yeah, 2 life sentences plus 40 years. That's insane. He should. I'm on the free Ross train, okay? And I think I generally just don't. I don't agree with the US criminal justice system generally. So, yeah, sentencing is too long for most offenses. There should be a way to reduce by contributing back to society in some way. I 100% agree with this. And I also think that we should focus more on rehabilitation. It's just unsustainable. I mean, the US literally has the highest incarceration rates in the entire world. So it's just like obviously something's not working right, because if it were a if lengthy prison sentence were such a deterrent, then we would have less inmates to incarcerate. Do you know what I mean? So having the highest incarceration rates in the world does not speak highly of the United States' criminal justice system. So just saying. Yeah, someone says 25 years is the right sentence. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. Um, someone's like, he should have gotten 30. What do you think the massive difference would be between 30 versus 25? I mean, do you think that that would change anything particular? Um, thank you, Michael Kelly. I appreciate your super chat. Did the judge not impose a lifetime ban on SBF participating in the finance industry? So from journalists I've spoken to, apparently like the SEC or some other organization has to do that. I'm uncertain how that works. But no, the judge didn't bring that up actually. But I've heard that like other organizations are the ones who impose those restrictions. But I'm not going to pretend to be more well versed in this than I am. I'm having conversations with people outside the courthouse, and that's what I've heard from someone outside the courthouse today. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, someone says 25 years seems too much for me as a non-US person. I mean, that's what's crazy to me. I mean, the distinction is so wild that like in most Europeans I've spoken to have been like, he would not get anywhere near 25 years. He would never get over 20 years. It is crazy that there's such a disparity between the way that Europe sentences. I don't know where you're from, but most of the people I've spoken to are in Europe. Sentences criminals versus how the US sentences criminals. And I think that generally the US imposes overly harsh sentences. I would say the same for like drugs, and I wouldn't say the same for pedophiles though. There are so many examples of pedophiles who get out in like 15 years, lower than Sam. Like, I mean, I just bring this one up because I think it was a high profile pedophile. But Jared Fogle, the Subway guy, he had 14 child victims. This was ongoing for years and years, that he was just a serial repeat rapist of children, pedophile, and he got 15 years in prison. Just only 15 years in prison. So to me, it's wild that like there are pedophiles who didn't just, commit one offense, but 14 child victims, and he gets 15 years, and Sam Bankman-Fried got 10 years more than that. Like, I think that's kind of crazy personally. But yeah, either way, um, I do think the US generally sentences too harshly, other than on pedophiles. Or maybe I also murderers as well. I was actually talking to some U.S. court marshals today in line, and they were talking about like they were saying like I've sat through thousands of cases. I've seen countless murderers get out in less than 20 years, in under 15 years sometimes. And then so one of the marshals was saying like, so I don't think Sam deserves more than like these murderers I see getting less than 20 years. I think that's kind of crazy. Any chance of getting a post-sentence debrief with Shkreli? Shkreli and I aren't close friends anymore, but I'm not going to talk about that. But thank you for the question. But no, I don't think I'm going to be talking to Shkreli anytime soon. Sipe, always coming in with this epic super chat. Shout out Sipe. I remember your name, obviously. Sipe is a loyal super chatter, and I love you, Sipe. Thank you so much for supporting my trial coverage. Thank you so much. And if any of you want to support my trial coverage, I first of all appreciate super chats, but I also have my donation links in the description box down below. Uh, the super chats are probably more fun for you guys because I like see them pop right up on this and I talk about them. But um, I will say that like obviously Venmo and Cash App and stuff like that, they take fewer fees from the chat. So first of all, I greatly appreciate any donations you guys give me because it is tough trying to make this like trying to report on all this stuff. I say report, I don't consider myself necessarily a journalist or a reporter, but trying to cover all of this stuff without being employed by anyone, without anyone covering my rent in New York City, without anyone covering my flights when I fly to New York or San Francisco to interview people or wherever. I'm just doing it all out of my own pocket because I find it enjoyable and I hope you find it enjoyable too. And I find it interesting. And I feel like I've been able to get some like interesting information out of people that I do think is quite newsworthy. And like I'm not calling myself a journalist or anything like that, but I do think I've gotten some good scoops. And it's without any help from an employer. So I do genuinely appreciate anyone who supports my coverage and my videos in general. I know sometimes I'm just a silly goose and I'm not posting really serious, hard hitting news, but I genuinely appreciate your support. Sorry, my devices are dying because I haven't charged my phone since court. I might have to get off soon too because I'm just fucking exhausted. I literally haven't slept a wink, like literally not even a blue. Oh, thank you so much, Glenn Epis, for the PayPal. Thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. I really, really do appreciate it. Like it's honestly like I think I spend more money covering these things than I earn, honestly. Because I don't accept crypto sponsorships or I don't expect sponsorships from any crypto companies. So I turn down most of the sponsorships that I'm offered. Thank you, David Moore, for the super chat. I appreciate it. So I turned down most of the sponsorships I'm offered. And rent in Manhattan is not cheap, and flights going back and forth across the country are not cheap. So I honestly think I've probably lost more money covering these things than I've gained. But I honestly find them interesting, and I feel like I've got myself into like this unique position to have gained access to interesting people with interesting angles and people like Sam who is at the helm of one of the largest financial fraud scandals in history. I do feel like in a unique and special position to be able to like share some information and to have gotten to that position. So like I want to get this information since I feel like I'm in this position and it's like this has been a historic case. Um, so I haven't been like just doing this because I think I'm gonna get rich off of it. But it really helps support my ability to continue doing this stuff when you guys support me. So I really, really, truly, truly appreciate it because I don't get a salary. No one's fly. Like I'm so jealous when I go talk to these journalists. Oh my god, this isn't actually that annoying, but like I was sitting outside the courthouse from 9:30 p.m. starting at 9:30 p.m. All the Wall Street, the someone at The Verge, I think someone at Bloomberg, someone at Business Insider, they hired line sitters, so they got to sleep all night, and they just because they're fucking, their employers pay for a line sitter, so these companies hired people to sit outside for them, and then they could just swoop in once it was time to enter the courtroom. So they got to get full night's sleep while I was sitting outside in the rain and cold all day because I'm not employed. So no one's paying for my line sitter. Apparently they're like $60 an hour, some of the companies. I'm like, yeah, I'll just do it myself. But yeah, I'm a little jealous they got to sleep in. Anyway, thank you so much, Michael Davis, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. How does anyone know how we can see his speech? Is that public? You're never gonna hear like a recording of it, but like I can try to make a YouTube video covering what he said in his speech if you want. How much time will he actually serve? Is there a minimum? The minimum he can serve is 21 years. Will Sam survive 5 years in a federal prison? I hope so. I hope so. Why do you keep bringing up Julian Assange? I literally don't know anything. I have not followed Julian Assange's case. Is there a reason you're ignoring questions about Julian Assange? When have I ever brought up Julian Assange? You're like asking me about someone I've never like researched and I have no thoughts on, honestly. I vaguely know what Julian Assange did and like vaguely understand WikiLeaks and stuff like that, but like I wasn't covering that, so I don't really have like a hot take on Julian Assange. What is rent for my apartment? Oh god, rent here for this apartment, it's like $4,000. It's so expensive in Manhattan, guys. And this apartment is not even. I'm not gonna lie, it's over $4,000, but it's not even fucking fancy. Do you see? It's literally just my bed and like a tiny, tiny little kitchen. It's not luxurious or anything, but Manhattan is expensive, guys. And I'm just paying for it with my own savings. And I picked this exact spot because it's in walking distance to the courthouse. And I was expecting to cover Sam's second trial, so I thought I was going to have to walk to and from the courthouse every single day. So I thought it was worth it to spend this amount of money if it meant that I was able to walk to and from the courthouse to cover the second trial. But the second trial got canceled, and your girl already paid for the apartment, and it was non-refundable. So I'm a little bit down on that investment, but it did allow me to cover this sentencing. And that's part of why I went so early, because I was like, there's no fucking way I paid for this New York apartment. And if I'm even like an hour too late and don't make it into the courtroom, I would have wasted all this money. So that's why I went so early. I was like, this is probably a little bit too early, but I need to ensure that I get this fucking spot because I've already invested this much money into wanting to cover the end of this, massive scale financial fraud case. Oh, thank you guys for the sweet comments. Maybe I should have outsourced a line sitter from my fans. I hate asking for things though, but I know it's insane. Oh, I'm just seeing all the comments about how insane that is. Yeah. I mean, I don't live here, guys. I literally got this apartment specifically because it's in walking distance to the SDNY federal courthouse, and Sam Bankman-Fried was scheduled to have a second trial beginning on March 8th. So I really wanted to cover the second trial. So I booked this apartment in advance. Before the second trial was canceled because I thought there was going to be a second trial. So, and then I tried to cancel it, but it was non-refundable. So I booked this expecting to cover an entire second criminal trial. That's why I booked it. Like, do you remember the other criminal trial that I covered? I was expecting to do that all over again, which is why I booked this apartment, because I can literally walk to the courthouse in like 10 minutes or less. So it is very expensive, but I booked it for that reason. And then the trial was canceled and I couldn't get a refund. Thank you, Ron Coleman. And because I missed the verdict, I did miss the verdict, and I was so depressed that I missed the verdict, so I had to come. Yeah, a lot of comments on the 4K apartment. I know, guys. I'm not someone who needs like a luxurious space or anything like that. Like, I hope that saying my rent doesn't make me sound bougie. It's literally Manhattan, and I literally booked this spot to cover Sam's second trial. So I really wanted to find something that was in walking distance to the courthouse. So that's why I booked this exact apartment. But it's rough, guys. It's tough on my savings. So I appreciate all your guys' donations again. I appreciate you. And will I be covering Alex M's trial? I've heard it's getting moved or got moved from September to January. I don't know if that's true. I should check that. I should check up on that. But I will try. I mean, you guys are like, are you covering it? It's like, if it makes financial sense for me to cover it, I will. So like before the first trial, I was able to secure a sponsor who like I was able to secure an additional sponsors for that specific time period, so that helped me cover my expenses. I haven't currently secured someone to like a company to sponsor, and it also, when I get a sponsor, that doesn't mean they're like just covering everything I do in New York or anything like that. It's just like some additional income for a short period of time so that I can pay for this apartment. So if I'm able to have enough money or secure enough sponsorships around that time, then I will cover Alex's second trial. And Sam's trial was easier to like sort of pitch to sponsors to be like, do you want to sponsor my coverage of Sam's trial? Because FTX's fraud case and Sam Bankman-Fried, this was like one of the most large scale, high profile financial fraud cases. So I hope that a company would be interested in, like a company I trust would be interested in covering or sponsoring my Mashinsky coverage, but it might be a little bit of a tougher sell than SBF, but we will see. I'll try. Okay, anyway, do I have any plans on working as a reporter for a company? No, I would never work for anybody. I love being able to say whatever the fuck I want, curse whenever I want, do a video on whatever I want. Like, I don't have to be assigned a topic or sent out to cover some story that I don't give a fuck about. Oh, I will say that my upcoming interview I'm having is that, and who knows if he's gonna stick to his word, but Suzu actually asked me to interview him. Suzu, the founder of 3AC, which I guess the collapse of 3AC led to the collapse of a lot of other crypto companies. And that might be one of the first dominoes in the row. Dominoes in the row. I don't know. Anyway, so if any of you guys have questions that you'd want to ask Suzu, then leave them. Actually, I might get off this soon because I really need a nap. But if you have any questions that you'd want to ask Suzu, then DM them to me on Twitter, or maybe I'll make a YouTube community post or something. I'll try to figure something out. But yeah, Suzu asked me to interview him. It's kind of cool. I'm just collecting all of the crypto fraudsters. So I don't know, like we haven't set a date. He's obviously not in the United States and he wanted to do it in person. So we'll see where he is or if he's incarcerated by the time we get around to this. We were thinking maybe May. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. I'm catching them all, baby. I am collecting criminals. I'm collecting all the criminals. So apparently he's not currently in prison. I don't know. Last time we spoke, it was probably a few weeks ago that he asked me to, and I was like, hey, I'm really slammed with this SBF stuff, so I'm not free till after that. And he wants to do it in person, so I would have to travel to Asia, another thing that I would need to save money for to actually do. So again, I really appreciate all of your donations, etc. But see, GoFundMe's feel really scammy. I just don't want, I hate like feeling like I'm a beggar. Oh, thank you so much, Sword and Scale. I appreciate that. I really genuinely appreciate the super chats because it does help me to fund my independent coverage of these things. I don't call myself a journalist or a reporter, but I'm independently going and doing these interviews and trying to get these scoops and whatever. So, yeah, so Suzu could be coming up if I have enough money by then to fly to his location. I don't know if I should share his location. I don't know if it's a secret or not. But, yeah, so we were thinking maybe May, potentially. We'll see if he's still free or if he's still willing to do it, but he's the one who brought it up, and I thought that was kind of cool. I'm assembling a team. Yes, lack X. I'm assembling a team. Anyway, who will be waiting for Sam when he gets out? His parents will be gone. He'll be alone. I know that I know no one has sympathy for Sam, but like I've thought about that because his parents will be dead. His closest friends and best friends and former lover, Carol, like his best friends were the people he worked with and who testified against him at trial against him, and put him in prison, basically. I mean, like they cooperated with the government against him. So I that's crossed my mind. I'm like, who will you have when you get out? Honestly, I will always be kind to Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam has always been nothing but kind to me, and I'm gonna be honest, I can have a nice, cordial, friendly conversation with a criminal. I've already talked to several, and I'm collecting more criminals. I can consider a criminal a friend and not think that they're legally innocent and not agree with their actions and feel that they do deserve punishment and not condone the things they've done, but consider them a friend. If honestly, I'm kind of someone where I'm like, if you're good to me and you're nice to me and you're kind to me, I will be kind back to you. That's generally how I operate as a human being. Maybe that pisses some of you guys off. Maybe some of you guys are like, how could you be nice to someone who's a criminal? I am pretty much nice to anyone who's nice to me. Honestly, I would have been nice to the Mashinskys if they didn't begin to individually antagonize me. Like, Chrissy Mashinsky began just insanely tweeting about me, making weird accusations about breaking into her home and uh, helping Sam Bankman-Fried bribe Chinese government officials. Like, that felt a little bit racist. But anyway, I have more of a problem with Chrissy because she's like personally antagonized me. But if she hadn't done that, I would be happy to have a normal, casual, sit down conversation with him and act like a normal human being, to be totally honest, even though I lost a lot of money to Alex Mashinsky and Celsius. But anyway, I'm just someone like that's just how I operate as a person. Mario Labot, thank you so much for the super chat. Enjoy my nap. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Suzu, not CZ. Yes, Suzu. But thank you so much, Mario. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I know 4K is a box in New York City. As I should. Dude, I would totally interview P. Diddy. I'd be happy to branch out of the crypto niche. Like, what else do you guys want to see me talk about? Is there anything you want me to talk about? Yeah, Chrissy Mashinsky, wild. She fucking crazy. And honestly, before she started personally antagonizing me and posting weird shit like that, I would have been happy to see her in person, shake her hand, and have a normal, cordial conversation with her. If Suzu's been nice to me so far, I'm happy to have a normal sit-down conversation with him as well. And Sam Bankman-Fried was nothing but kind to me, nothing but respectful towards me. So on a personal level, I do consider Sam Bankman-Fried a friend. That doesn't mean I think he's innocent, but he was nothing but kind to me, and I can empathize with anyone who I can have a sit-down conversation with. And if you have a big problem with that, then you might just have a problem with the way that I make videos and talk to people, and that's fine, but you don't have to follow me if you have a massive problem with the fact that I am happy to have a normal human conversation with literally anybody. It's even like some of the people I've interviewed who have just gotten out of prison with Sam, like Jean Borello, I talk to on a daily basis. I talk to G-Lock all the time as well, and both of them are former inmates who have obviously committed crimes. And they actually, I think, committed violent crimes. So I actually ethically find their crimes worse than non-violent crime personally, but I can still be friends with them. Thank you so much, Charlie Lee. You enjoyed my coverage of the SBF trial. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the super chat. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And someone says, it's been a real joy to watch me be a journalist who have these niches but never bought Bitcoin. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. Interview Ross. Yo, I'd love to interview Ross, but I will be honest, I didn't like follow Silk Road that closely. Like I know the contours of the case, but I don't like know the case back and front. So if I were to get like, a wild interview with Ross, I would be like intimidated because I'm like, I'm sure there are other people who have covered this much more closely than I have. Thank you, Dave Digital, for the super chat. Dave Digital says, free Sam Bankman-Fried. And you know what? I'm not going to disagree with your sentiment. You guys can say whatever you want, and I'm kind of like, I can see all this. I see all aspects to this. Like, I'm not going to argue with the sentence that he got. I personally think that, like, I don't love the U.S. criminal justice system, so I think that the things that I hope for white-collar criminals are probably, like, lower prison times than most of the public would want, but... Sipe again? Oh, Sipe says for G-Lock if I see him. I have G-Lock's Cash App, so I can send G-Lock any donation. So thank you so much, Sipe. I appreciate it. This is actually helpful because I want to get G-Lock like maybe a used laptop or a tablet or something because he currently doesn't have a laptop or a tablet. So if anyone wants to send G-Lock money and just like label it for G-Lock, I can send G-Lock money. Or just put it towards buying him a tablet or something because he doesn't have a tablet or a laptop. And I just think that in today's day and age in 2024, I don't know how he's going to find legitimate work without having a computer or, So thank you. I thank you for donating to G-Lock. Oh, there's a lot of free Sam Bankmans here. A lot of free Sam Bankmans. Some F Sam Bankmans and some throw away the key Sam Bankmans, but a lot of free Sam Bankmans too. I've already gone over that they're going to put him in a low or a medium. Yeah, 25 years without internet is going to be hell for Sam. Oh God, I don't know how he's going to mentally survive that. That is literally Sam's hell. Sam really is not stuffy. Like when I visited him at his house, I'm back. Wait, can you hear me? I got a phone call, so I don't know if it fucked up my sound. Is the sound gone? Fuck. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Is it better? Can you hear me now? Yay! Okay. Anyways, what were we talking about? Sorry, I just got a phone call. Well, because I don't know if anyone follows me on Twitter, you'll know that I got my phone stolen in New York a few days ago. Well, I was at a bar sitting at a bar where there was like outdoor tables, and I was chatting with a ton of people. We were all drinking. I went pee a few times. Anyway, at some point my phone was swiped off the table of the outdoor bar. Like it was outdoor, like on the street. So it was a table on the street. So someone just swiped my phone from the table, and I did the whole like lost my iPhone thing, and he didn't respond until I offered him a reward. So I met a random man. My phone was showing up at a park, so I went to that park, and then I just was frantically looking for my phone. I asked a bunch of random people. I met this nice random man who just stuck with me and helped me look for my phone for like over an hour. And then when we started offering him money, he returned the phone to me. But anyway, I got the phone returned. I had to pay the guy. He was apparently a crackhead because the guy that I was with gave tours of the park, and he was like, yeah, that guy's literally always in this park doing fucking crack. Anyway, wait, the sound isn't working? Is it still not working? It's back. Anyway, so my phone was stolen, but when it was returned to me, it's like this camera's smashed. So my cameras are all fucked up on the other side. So I need to get it fixed, or I need to get a replacement. Anyways, that's what that phone call was for. I don't know why I explained all that to you. That was so boring. Any final thoughts, questions, anything like that? Oh, Sam and I don't actually think we did lock eyes today. I don't even know if he saw me today. Hmm. But I saw him. Any final thoughts or questions, or anything you'd like me to do in the future? Any videos you'd like me to make in the future? Please leave them now, because your girl needs to take a nap and eat a normal meal. Actually, I literally haven't had a meal. Oh, thank you, Ron Coleman, for posting my video. Okay. This has been so fun. Oh, I'm an incredible reporter. Thank you. Someone says 25 years is way too long. I personally agree with that sentiment, but I know that enrages some people, and some people just like, I, some people think that saying that a long prison sentence means that you don't understand the harm that was caused. People are like, do you not understand the lives that were ruined? I'm like, I understand it, and I was the victim of one of these crimes. It's just that, like, as a victim, I just logically know that someone going to prison for life doesn't impact my recovery, or like if Sam going to prison for life somehow magically made customers whole, he should go to prison for life. But I'm, as someone who lost the majority of my life savings to Celsius, I cared more about how much money I got back, and to I just wanted to fucking move on with my life, forget about what happened, and like get back as much as possible. So anyway, when OnlyFans. Thank you, Dirk Wise. I'm a hardworking woman. It has been difficult. Did I lock eyes with SBF's parents? Yeah, I think Barb saw me and she kind of grimaced at me, and she was just like, she literally, but I also don't know if it was directed at me or the fact that like literally her son was getting sentenced to a length of prison time that she will not outlive. So she did glance at me, and then she was like, but like she was also doing that exact motion throughout the majority of the day. So I don't know if it was directed at me, but she definitely saw me because I was literally sitting right behind her, like in, and it wasn't like right behind her to where she'd have to turn her head. I was in the row behind her in like visible, just like if she just turned her head a little bit, she sees me. So I literally, as soon as I sat there, I was like, oh, I'm way too close to Barb. This is really uncomfortable. I'm way too close to Barb. I don't want to be this close to Barb. But yeah, so she definitely saw me. You feel for the elderly who don't have time to recover their funds. I also feel for the elderly that don't have time to recover their funds. It's just that, like, logically to me, I don't think that putting someone else in prison for life helps the situation. And I think like the putting someone in prison for life who has murdered or killed someone literally would protect public's physical safety from future attacks like that. But to me, I'm kind of like, Sam Bankman-Fried's crime wasn't a physical attack. I think that he should be forever barred from financial services so that he can never create a financial services business again to ever harm anyone who has lost money again. So to me, I'm sort of like, I guess I'm kind of more like, I want the punishment to fit the crime more. I obviously understand that prison sentence is also just a punishment in general. So I do think he deserved a prison sentence. But like, wanting life or something like that just because you feel for the people who were harmed, I'm kind of like, I feel for them as well. So I hope that he is literally never able to touch any financial services business ever again. But to me, I just don't understand how someone sitting in a jail cell to the rest of the days that they're alive and being unable to literally just walk the street and go outside or speak to a friend or those, that as punishment to me, just it doesn't make the situation better, it doesn't help the victims, and it doesn't necessarily prevent the exact thing that happened, which is like, I hope he never touches financial services again and is forever banned from them. uh, I don't know, does that make sense? I know that like this is probably something that I think most people disagree on, but is Crip Mac out? Who's that? SBF's mom is hot. That's weird. Um, did he cry? No, he didn't cry. Sam doesn't. I don't think he's the most visibly emotional person. Um, Am I single? Yes. I'm a natural at true crime. Thank you. I should do a weekly podcast with SBF. Well, we can't do that. He'll be out in like, some of you are literally retarded. Like, this is like the kind of commenter who was like, Sam's gonna get out of this scot-free because he donated to Republicans. Like, this kind of commenter is just like, I think you're literally retarded. In case you haven't heard me repeat this multiple fucking times already, he was sentenced to 25 years. There is no parole in the federal system. The most he can get off is 15% for good time. So he will have to serve at least 21 years. I don't understand how like some people are like this fucking retarded. Anyway, and also I called you retarded. Feel free to fucking unsubscribe. I literally don't give a shit. Just some people who like just lack just basic I was gonna say critical thinking ability, but this isn't critical thinking ability, just basic ability to digest simple information. I don't like want you to follow me. I'm just kind of like, you need to watch like PBS or something. Okay, seems like more of sending a message to deter. The deterrent angle is the one aspect I understand the most. So that's why I've never argued for zero prison time. Because obviously if I took what I said to the extreme, I would be arguing for only a ban on financial services, on participating in financial services, and no prison time. But I've never argued for no prison time. So I do think there should be a prison sentence as a deterrent. I just personally don't think life is necessary as a deterrent. Personally. And when people make the Madoff comparison, I'm kind of like, Madoff served 12 years of his 150-year sentence. Like, I don't think that anyone actually expected him to serve 150 years. So I do think that's like not a fair comparison to compare like what Sam got to Madoff. Madoff literally served 12 years. You can look it up. Caroline, I think, is going to go free. I'm just reading comments. Can Sam get out on bail? No, definitely not. Am I going to attend Trump's trial? I haven't. Like, I'm already kind of not caught up on Trump's trial, so I don't know if I would like try to catch up in the middle of it. Or like so late in the game, because I already missed, like, Trump's trial and Sam's trial were running concurrently, and I missed a lot of Trump's stuff, so I feel a little bit behind on that. It's a deterrent for others, not SBF. Yes, I'm aware of what being a deterrent means. That's why I literally just said that I do believe in a prison sentence as a deterrent, like to send a message. But I just don't believe in life sentences for nonviolent crime. I keep saying that. Oh, can I visit him? I hope he lets me visit him. I don't know where we stand right now. Sometimes we get into rocky territory because he doesn't love all the things I say about him. I don't think he loved my trial coverage of him. But hopefully we can repair that. I guess now that sentencing's over, it's not like I can really hurt him at this point. So yes, we have been in contact via email. So, you know, we've gone through a couple ups and downs. He's gotten mad at some things I've said about him, and then we've made amends, and I don't know. So who knows if I'm going to be able to visit him. Sam's kind of, I don't know. I don't know if he sees me as an actual friend or if he just wanted me to, was hoping that I would give him positive press coverage. I don't know. I see. I don't want to make a big deal of the email thing, but like, yeah, prisoners in general at MDC do have access to an email system, but like it's limited. It's not. It's no connection to the internet. It's literally like a separate app that I even have to use. It's not like I can email him through Gmail. I had to download a separate app. So it's not like a normal email system. It's not connected to like his is not connected to internet. He can't like browse the web. Um, no, strangers cannot visit him. Oh my god, he'll only serve 12.5 years. I don't know how many times I can re-explain this, but no, there's no parole in the federal system. I don't know. Should I just ignore all the comments of the people who like just don't seem to like listen, or like benefit of the doubt, maybe you just joined, but I'm just like the people who feel so sure, they're like, Sam's only going to serve 8 years. Sam's only going to serve 12 years. I'm just like, the balls on you to feel so certain in that statement is just like wild to me when it seems like you haven't even looked up how federal parole, if there's federal parole. You don't seem to know if there's federal parole or not because there's not. So like the fact that some people come with like exact numbers of what they think Sam is going to serve, I'm like, maybe you should Google how sentencing works first. I don't know. Someone was like, you have an idea exclusive. Just say the idea. What's the idea? When are they gonna go after the parents' money? He was smiling during his sentencing. What are you talking about? I never stated that he was smiling during his sentencing, and I was sitting right there, and he did not smile during his sentencing. So I don't know where you're getting that information. Were you in trial? Were you in the courthouse? I don't think you were. So because he definitely was not smiling. What did he say? Are you talking about Sam? What did Sam say? I'm not going to talk about our conversations, like, because I don't know that he. It's kind of like the Kelsey Piper interview where he thought he was just having a normal conversation, and then it got blasted online. You know what I mean? I don't ethically feel comfortable. Like, even if he doesn't say off the record for an email, I don't really feel comfortable, like, pulling a Kelsey Piper if I'm just having a conversation with someone and then, like, sharing it. So I'm not going to talk about the content of our conversations. Podcasts weekly. Yeah. What do you guys want me to talk about in a podcast, though? I'm just touching my hair because, like, it feels weird from being in the rain all day. So I don't know. I'm touching my hair. Anyway, any final questions? Any final requests for things you'd like me to do in the future? Any videos you'd like me to make? Any topics you're interested in with him? No, in what world do you think I can do a podcast with someone who's incarcerated right now? I also don't think he's gonna give me like an exclusive interview right now. We have had some. He hasn't loved everything I've said about him online, I will say. Okay, so I don't think that he's gonna be hopping on to the idea of us doing something together. Okay, so stop with that prospect. But other things, you have other ideas. Interview Caroline. I've never spoken to Caroline, but I feel like I've talked a lot of shit about her and said that I don't think she should get let off scot-free, so don't think she'd want to do an interview with me. Most likely. Ted Bundy was interviewed in jail. I know. I'm saying that Sam hasn't loved a lot of my trial coverage, so I don't think he's going to want to do an interview with me after my trial coverage, is what I'm saying. Go on Coffeezilla. I literally have already said multiple times that I literally just spoke to Coffeezilla right before this, so he'll post something on his. I think it might be on Voidzilla. I'm not sure, but he'll post something. Oh my god, this person, Lucas, is like annoying me. Do I think it will be a Netflix movie soon? I think that Michael Lewis's book sold to like Amazon or something, so there will be a movie. Oh, thank you, Francois. That is very sweet. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Skincare routine vlog. Oh, I can do that. Easy. Did he lose more weight when I saw him? He was so skinny. His arms were like stick-like. He looked so skinny today. It was kind of sad to see. And he was wearing, so if you want to hear a full description of what he was wearing, it's in my most recent G-Lock interview because it was the same as we discussed in that G-Lock interview. But he was wearing prison tans, which literally look like a potato sack. It looks like you're wearing a potato sack. And he had ankle shackles, and I don't know, it was really sad. Have I seen Bitboy lately? Bitboy was at trial, so yeah, but he didn't make it in time to get into the courtroom, so he was in an overflow room. So I didn't have to sit in the same room as Bitboy, thank God. But yeah. Yeah, my arms are little sticks too, but I'm a female. I feel like as a man, you should have a little bit of muscle or meat. Okay, I'm really fucking hungry. I haven't actually eaten a meal today. Other than like, I think the last thing I ate was a bite of someone's bacon, egg, and cheese, but prior to that, I just ate a bar of chocolate. So I'm really fucking hungry and I haven't slept. I can't believe I've been doing this live stream for almost 2 hours. Wow, that's dedication, guys. Um, If you are interested in donating to me, my donation links are in the description box. I will also leave them right here. My Cash App. Also, I'm not trying to pressure you into donating. I'm just saying if if you've enjoyed my coverage and you'd like to send a donation, then I'm just leaving some links if you'd like. I've really enjoyed covering this trial. If you have more questions about Sam, or you can always DM me on Twitter if you have ideas for things you think I should do, or comment on one of my community posts and just say you have an idea. Or I should think of a better way to collect ideas or something like that, you know? But thank you, Tracy F, for enjoying my coverage. I appreciate that. But yeah, I need to think of other things to cover now because this is coming to a close. I mean, there are some videos I might do on like the steps from here, where he ends up, what his prison might be like, etc. But yeah, I mean, he's been sentenced now, so I feel like that was one of the final chapters of this. Yeah, I am hangry. I'm very hungry. I haven't eaten so much today. But I love you all so much. If you'd like to donate, my donation links are in the description box, and I left some in the comments. And I love you. And if you have ideas, let me know. I've said this like 8 times already. I'm a fun interviewer. You'd watch me interview almost anyone. That's a really nice compliment because I personally like enjoy doing interviews more than I enjoy like memorizing things to make a YouTube video about. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, gotta eat a good meal. I love you people. If anyone wants to donate to me, links in description. And I love you so much. I love you. Thank you for watching. I'm so sleepy. I need sleep, yeah. Oh, thank you for complimenting my interviewing because I don't feel particularly good at it, but I feel like I'm just like having normal conversations with people and I don't think I'm like skilled at interviewing. I'm just kind of like, let's just sit down and have a chat. But I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much, P. Morton, for the super chat. I love you. Shout out. Did SBF cry? No. Yeah, I need to sleep for like 24 hours because it's been like over 48 hours since I've fallen asleep. Okay, love you. Goodbye, my sweet little nuggets. I love you so much. Bye, honeys.